Donald Trump is very busy right now. He's got a war on his hands, and obviously, if the opportunity were to open, we would talk and say there must be a ceasefire.
The US President Donald Trump is angry and annoyed with the progress of his war on Iran. He expected to wrap the war in about 3 days after the brutal murder of Ayatollah Khamenei. He expected that the Iranian people would pour into the streets and instigate a regime change that could have brought in a friendly leader to both the US and Israel, preferably the Shah's son, Reza Pahlavi. That did not happen. And now, out of frustration, the US is giving Iran, especially the capital Tehran, a Gaza treatment where it is carpet bombing the city into submission. We have even seen the Secretary of War threatening to use all the military forces, especially air power, to bomb the city and other nearby cities into oblivion. Well, at the same time, we have seen leaders from Europe and Africa calling for an end to this war. For it does not help anyone to bomb hospitals, to bomb schools, to bomb Mehrabad International Airport in Tehran, and all infrastructure that is supporting the survival of people living in the city. Remember, the city has a population of around 10 million people. And all these people are displaced into their villages, meaning that Tehran is becoming a ghost town as the US continue to pummel it. At the same time, Iran is taking revenge on the GCC states, the Gulf states, bombing all the US installations in those states, and also bombing the main US ally, Israel, pummeling the city of Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and Haifa with renewed force as their defense system continue to fail. Nevertheless, we have seen the US still believe it to win the war, and the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, has threatened to continue pummeling Tehran.
Flying over Tehran, flying over Iran, flying over their capital, flying over the IRGC, Iranian leaders looking up and seeing only U.S. and Israeli air power every minute of every day until we decide it's over. And Iran will be able to do nothing about it. B-2s, B-52s, B-1s, Predator drones, fighters, controlling the skies, picking targets. Death and destruction from the sky all day long. We're playing for keeps. Our warfighters have maximum authorities granted personally by the president and yours.
As the South African president calls for Trump to end this madness in Iran and the Middle East, the cost of war is escalating. The Iranians have succeeded to close the Strait of Hormuz, creating a chokehold of 20% of the oil that goes to the global south and most even Europe, meaning that the price of oil and gas will shoot. And this will affect all these countries in the global south, considering the US is benefiting from oil from Venezuela. Again, the cost of this war is too much even for the US. The US has already spent like $2 billion in the war, and yet it's projecting it to spend around 210 billion US dollars to successfully decapitate Tehran and the rest of Iran and maybe destabilize the country like it did Iraq 20 years ago. And in this process, the US is afraid to put boots on the ground, considering that the RGCC, the Iranian army, has a mobilizable capacity of between 1 million to 50 million, considering it all Iranians above the age of 18 are compelled by law to volunteer in the military. So meaning anyone in Iran can be able to fight. And that means in case the US puts boots on the ground, they will be destroyed or decimated. And it's at this time that Trump has openly said that they are planning with the CIA to bring the Kurds forces into southern Iran to destabilize the country. And they want to mobilize them from mostly the southern part of Iran. They'll be moving from Syria, Iraq, and Turkey. All these countries have the Kurds. And there's also the risk that once these troops are on the ground, these three countries can also enter the war, even making the situation worse. Remember, the US had done that before, and after trying to work with the Kurds, they abandoned them, and they were decimated by the Iran military. And this will happen when Trump realizes that deploying the Kurds will not work. He will abandon them in the mountains and they'll be destroyed by the Iranian army. So this is still a strategy that cannot work. So Trump is still stuck in this quagmire. And considering the US is a superpower, it is hard for them to admit defeat. Right now, the Senate is supporting the war. Just recently, or rather today, it has passed a resolution saying that the war can continue. The Senate, which is Republican in majority, did not oppose the war resolution proposal. Now we are waiting for Congress to vote on the same. And it's highly likely that Congress will agree with the Senate. The defeat of the war powers resolution in the Senate does not bode well for those opposed to the war, as Trump retains the power to escalate the war as can continue to mobilize the military. Now they are waiting for the US Congress to see how the vote goes. Well, there is hope that Congress might oppose the war, but since the Republicans has a majority in Congress, it is highly unlikely that this war will stop. Well, Trump can force a vote in Congress by influencing his troops to oppose the war, and then the war will end naturally. And will tell the world that, well, he was ready to fight this war, but it was stopped by Congress. And thereby he will declare a win and return his troops back to America. Otherwise, this war will escalate and bring more misery to the world and ruin the economy. That is all. Kindly like and subscribe this channel.